insight. I've read the book. I think it's extraordinarily practical for people like me that are, that are working to build a brand for their firm, that are trying to come up with some, useful points of view. You share a concept I think is very valuable. I want you to riff on it. And it's about, telling stories that aren't being told. What is your unique perspective? Talk a bit about why that's valuable and what people can do to think about, so what is my story that hasn't been told yet by someone else?
Yeah, thank you, Scott, for bringing that up. One of the things that I talk about in Standout is the question of how do you find ideas that really are worth talking about? Because I think a problem for a lot of people, they may be a smart, talented professional, but so often people look at themselves and say, yeah, but what do I have to offer that's different than anybody? Like, yeah, I might be smart, I might be good at what I do, but how is it different? Why should people listen to me? And it's a really common phenomenon, because the truth is we are our own definition of normal, right? Anything about us, like, we're the baseline. Oh, of course, everybody does that. And it's only later that we find out, oh, wait, everybody doesn't do that. That might actually be a unique thing. So one way to begin to look at this and to excavate it, certainly, going back to the theme about your network, oftentimes it's your friends and your trusted colleagues that can shine a light for you on things about you that are different or unique or special. It's very, very hard for us to see that ourselves. But the second thing where it can be a useful place to experiment is to think about aspects of your background that are, or your perspective somehow, that are different than what is common or what is standard in your field. And the reason I say this, so often in our professional life, we are taught to think of our differences as weaknesses. Oh, everybody knows more about blah, blah than me, or everybody's been doing this for 20 years and I just started. And we think, oh, that's a handicap that we're dealing with. But the truth is, almost always, you have not just been, sitting on the couch eating bonbons for 20 years. You have been doing something, and that something is different and has given you a different perspective that may actually be uniquely valuable. And so if you can look at that point of differentiation, it can actually really be a source of strength rather than a weakness. Just as a quick example, there's a guy that I profile in Standout named Eric Schott, who has become one of the leading thinkers in biology today. Right. He's published more than 200 peer-reviewed papers on everything from Alzheimer's disease to diabetes. But what was fascinating about him is that he did not, his field now is biology, but he didn't start in biology. He was actually a computer scientist and only later in his career moved into biology. And the special sauce he was able to bring was that because he had trained in quantitative methods and computer science, he became one of the first people to really understand the promise of big data in biology. Now, nowadays everybody's like, oh yeah, big data, that's important. But back in the early days, biologists were like, what is this? They hadn't trained in it, they didn't get it, they didn't know how to do it. And Eric brought it in and said, wait a minute, we've been doing this in computer science for a long time. This could really be helpful. And so he was able to see its importance before everyone else, which made him a breakthrough thinker.